Hello, welcome to CH Squared. So by the way, CH Squared is a formation arm of Kaire. So CH Squared shirt and Kaire shirt. So
Christian children.
Christian Chill, okay? So by the way, so this is a re-recording of our previous talk because of technical difficulties in our previous talk, okay? So we are your guests for today. I am Neil. This is my fiancée Dea. Hi, Han.
Hi, Han. So, for the information of everyone, of course, my fiancé is Achar from Proud. He's the current head servant of Kaire, the Young Professionals Group of St. John.
And Dea is also the first head servant of the cell group of Kaire.
Which
is
is
PES.
Okay. Okay, so today, or tonight rather, we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, the 5 languages of love.
So just a quick disclaimer, so even though the words is love language, this concept is not exclusive to married couples or couples in a relationship, but this can actually be applied to all kinds of relationships, even to low level or high level friendships.
Yes. Okay, but even if then it's applicable to all, part of our, or most of our examples will actually also focus on the couple love languages. But also, to give a little bit of idea on how this 5 love languages started, it was actually first presented by Dr. Gary Chapman. So it was during his marriage counseling. So like people would come, magpa-cancel sa iyahan mo na nga, Doc, I really can't understand. You know, I did this, you know, kalang ginawa ko na to. Reenactment talaga to eh. My God, you did this, I've said that, but how come my partner still parang hindi pa rin convinced ang akong partner that I really love him or I really love her. So, parang si Doc Chapman parang na-confused din siya. Yeah. So, what he did was to study all of his counseling notes, and then he discovered that it can be summarized into 5. And this was when the 5 love languages was born. And we're going to talk about them.
Yeah, so we're going to enumerate it now. Okay, so I'll go first. The first love language is the language of service. So, by the way, in love language, there is this language of giving and receiving. So if your main love language of giving is service, just like me, so you have a tendency to serve your partner. So for example, in my case, service man ang main sa. So tuhan kay I usually carry her mga bags or groceries, mga bags, and then I insist to pick her up with my motorbike instead of letting her commute or something. So muna siya ang giving. So if ang imong receiving pud kay service, then you will feel loved. So munang term, you will feel loved if your partner would serve you. So will help you in some way.
Yeah, so it's more on
More
showing.
on showing rather than telling.
Yes, so that's the first love language. The second love language is physical touch. And I think for me personally, I think this is my top 2. So my second love language is physical touch. So if you're someone who has a love language, you like someone, gigilig, like, I like to hold hands.
Sana all.
Or like, or maybe like you hug, and then never like mag-akbay if you're a guy, and then kiss, and especially for married couples, then is sexual union. So also, if your if your love language for receiving is physical touch, then you will feel love if murag randomly kay akbayan ka sa iyong partner, or i-kiss ka sa forehead, or i-hold yung hands, or like for married couples, kanang really forced ang inyong sexual intimacy. So that's the second love language.
And the third love language is gifts. So if your love language of giving is gifts, then you will notice for yourself na kusugi ka mo hatag og gift. So for example, is you will just pick a flower and you give it to your partner, and then pilipod ka lang you'll write a little note and also give it to your partner. And basically any kind of gift giving, but it doesn't have to be like big or small. I mean actually it includes both big and small, but the idea of giving. And if it is for receiving, then you will feel love if you would receive gifts from your partner. So that includes the flowers, and also including the surprise birthday party. Sa anniversary po also, if maka-remember ang imong partner sa imong birthday and giving money mo receives, and you will really feel love about them.
Yeah, but I'm not so much demanding. But anyway, the 5th love language, the 4th love language is quality time. So I would say personally, this is my top one love language. So I am the person who likes to spend quality time with someone I love. So for example, when we're doing missions, or like I like to do, even tinagani savor lang nimo ang presence with each other. So, and then you look eye to eye. Mga ina na lang, we're presence, eye to eye, quality time. And so for example, kung mag-mission me, like recently, Kyrie Manungal mission. No? So when we do mission, so Han being the head servant, he's really focusing a lot of his energy in serving, overseeing the mission. So, but for me, my mission is to serve him while he is serving in the mission. But there are times na murag busy kayo ba? So, come on ako ni Han, let's pause, ha? And then, hold hands lang, and then likod, and then, wala, even if we don't have to talk, kay, murag, sometimes, ganahan na ako ang savor ng mga silent moments. And then, so there's also other people na ganahan o kanang conversation. So, there are people, especially na, paranitan, yung love language of receiving is physical touch. You will feel loved if kanang na quality conversations and conversations na, let's say, mangaon mo. Dapat, iset aside sa tani ang phone. Okay, Murako, I want to feel your presence during this time of conversation. So, that's also spending quality time, also traveling and doing things together, maybe hobbies. So, that's the fourth love language.
So the fifth love language is words of affirmation. So if this is your main love language of giving, then you would notice for yourself na you will basically say these words of affirmations. For example, kamayan, so wow, you look beautiful today, Han.
Oh, the Bisayo.
Abusap ka na yun. You look beautiful today, ano ba? Or your dress looks pretty, ano ba? And then, so if imo pong love language of receiving is words of affirmation, then you will really feel love if you would hear those kinds of words from your partner. So if dili ka na main mo, then you may not appreciate it that much. But very big important thing about it is if mauna yung main receiving love language, then you will really, really, really appreciate it when you hear it from your partner.
Yes. So again, let's take a recap of the 5 love languages. First,
Service,
physical touch,
gifts,
quality time.
words of affirmation.
Okay. So now, how do we identify unsa ato ang love language sa giving and unsa atong love language sa receiving? So we can ask ourselves a very basic question. For example, how do I know my love language for giving? So I can ask myself, if I like someone, unsa akong normal tendency? How do I express my love for that person? Or like, si crush, or oh, kapit may crush, or like, hi crush, and then, hi crush, nadi ko letter for you. So maybe yung love language is kanang giving of gifts, diba? So, you just ask yourself, what's my natural tendency when I love someone? What do I do naturally? And then for the receiving aspect,
And for the receiving is you will also have that same question but in reverse. So if I were to be loved, what do I expect my lover to do for me or to give to me? So for example, if you are someone who like mo prefer nga pick up sa motor, then also mo na siya ay yung receiving kay service. Or if you like this, ikaw man ang beloved niya, lover man niya ang partner. So example, you prefer your lover to give you chocolates or give you flowers, so mo na siya ang giving, and you prefer your partner to spend time with you in a dinner date or something. Although minut pa na ang tanan, but there's this like top priority, one thing that comes up to your mind or is like most important, most close to your heart. So mo na siya. That way you can discover your main love language for receiving.
yes, that's true. And then, but we have to take note na sometimes, and we will discover this, sometimes maybe dili same mga to ang love language sa giving and sa receiving. So like for example, ako, my main love language for giving is quality time. But my main love language for receiving, the main love language na I want to receive from my partner to feel that I am loved, is service.
And in my case, my main love language for giving is service, and for receiving is quality time.
Yeah, so thanks be to God. Medyo makalas ito. Thank you, Lord. Kaya nag-complement, you see a certain complementarity there in the way that we want to give and in the way that we want to receive. Okay, but there may be those na basin possibility na same sila of giving. So let's say, okay, akong giving kay um, giving gifts out, kind of providing. So like, and then for the both the man and woman. So it can be a source maybe of kind of competition. Okay, both of you wants to give in that way man. And then there are also those na kanang, for example, ang iyahang ganahan i-receive kay gifts, but iyang partner more on service. So siya mo ano siya nga, ano ba, ba't ba wala mo ko'y car, why you don't give me a car, why you don't give me a house? Then ang partner ka, you know, oh my gosh, but I'm so tired na, like I've been serving you so much, but why you're still not convinced that I love you? Parang ganun ba? Because your love language of receiving is not the same sa imuhang ganahan expect madawat, and dili the same sa iyahang i-receive, diba? So
expect out car na siya kasi kinta fix sa mga original car na ano ba.
Yeah, exactly. So Mausan nga, it's very important to identify our own love language, especially maybe when you start a relationship, and then later we'll elaborate on other aspects. But yeah, so that maka-orient mo sa usag-usa sa inyong love language of giving and receiving, and so that also you can meet halfway, because this can also be really a source of conflict. Like even for us, there's this one instance where what happened.
So na may conflict ato na ay problema ang iyang laptop, and niya she asked for my help, so he offers ako og help with ato. So mana do you notice nga service akong giving a love language. So they offer ko some help, and then receptive siya kay yung receiving kay service man food, but she unknowingly said words something like hindi mo siya mugana kay katry ko ano na, but ako pag receive ato is that I don't need your help, I don't need your service. And then for my case nga, I want to serve nga gi-block it is something which is hurtful for them. So yeah, all hell break loose because of that event, but we were actually thankful and we were able to understand what's happening, the dynamics between the two, between what happened with both of us.
Yeah, and also kana mura sa way, mura sa stepping stone, sort of tama bang word, na you can learn to compromise with each other. Because like, for example, we had a recent conflict sa Jud recently, and then after we nagka-away-away lalis-lalis, so dihan na din ko naka-realize na han mo din na hurt ko ato na moment kay ganahan din ko at that moment akong ma-receive na love language kay affirmation. So murag na-apply na nato 5 love languages, di ba? So it can also be a source na pwede mo murag mag-compromise, and this is also beautiful actually, because nakita nato ba nga when we know the love language, when we are oriented and then we try to compromise, makita nato nga mura ginig mo level up ang atong love, because we have a natural way of giving, di ba? Like for example, katong example ganiha nga ang partner ganahan siya mo dawat og kanang gifts, but ang iyang ganahan siya mo dawat og gifts, but iyang partner naturally mas mo serve, di ba? But makita nimo ba nga kung ikaw hala kung mag-serve gyud akong partner, kay mao man yung natural love language, you love gid ko niya, you know, because he's really serving. It's really the way he expresses his love. So in fact, he does love me. Maybe dili siya the way I expected, but yes, he does love me. But when he will give me na finally na akong car and house and lot, murag meaning na grabe ka nag-overtime yung partner. So super abundance na po siya of love in a way nga murag it's not negating the natural tendency of giving, but you appreciate nga grabe sa giving effort. You can appreciate more the effort nga he went out, or she went out of his or her natural tendency of showing love, and just really so that he or she can meet your expectations. So I hope clear lang ako pag-explain. Okay, Han. But so far, Han, we've been talking about mga couples, no, that this love language, naka-mention mo kasi yung disclaimer nga, it also applies to other types of relationship. Maybe you can expound?
Yeah, it's really applicable to others actually. So the first ko na nga disclaimer, so that especially sa mga single people maka-receive ani nga video ba, para may couple kung tanaw, but gibutang to siya nga disclaimer kay 30 no, it is actually applicable to all kinds of relationships. So example sa friendships kay nanyata ko to example nga birthdays. So sa example for me, ako krenta lang jud birthday sa mga tao kay dili kayo nako na nga it's not one of my main nga love language na kanang sa giving, so that includes sa mga birthdays ba. But there's this one person nga friend nako nga he really values sa birthday sa other people and also himself. So katong time nga ni lapas niya birthday nakalimot ko nalain gud siya, and sa ako perspective kay mura ragwa, but in his perspective kay it is really really valuable for him. So it's not good for me to dismiss his feelings because it's actually really valid kay mo to yung love language. So in that kind of dynamics ka sa among friendship kay diya siya nag-lead. So at least in my own perspective kay diya sa ko maka help ko niya sa giving. So yeah, thanks to Google Calendar, di na ko makalimot by the way.
Yeah, so he doesn't forget. Actually, was first siya maka-remember sa mong monthsary.
Google Calendar.
Google Calendar pala. Akala ko memory niya. Joke. Yeah, but anyway, sige.
So yeah, so mo to siya aside sa friendships, but ikaw ha, maybe maka-expand ka
Yes.
more maybe sa parents.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, actually, love language for also applies sa parent and children, parents-children relationship. So I'll give a very maybe delicate example. The example of a single mother is working as an OFW. So, kanang, when you're an OFW, of course, you leave your child by sa hometown mo. And then maybe, for that mom, ang iyang way of giving love, showing love, is to provide for her children. But at the same time, for her children, basin makaana ang children na kanang quality time, ang ayahang gipangita. So, murag, ang bata mo na, wala ka dito nung nag-graduate ako. Then, mga sa din mama nga, grabe akong pinag-aalan dito paghihirap. I mean, I'm sorry if more so funny, but yeah, this is reality right now. But maybe if we understand more this love language, then we can appreciate that, oh, kanang, mo dito ang way to express the love of my mom, na she really wants to provide for me. And then sa mom po, na dili siya ma-hurt because makasabot siya nga ang child, murag, ganaan sa dili siya makaspend time. So then, well, it's up to you na how to reconcile or to compromise with that, but at least the awareness of this love language and how we show our love and how we expect to receive this love. And yeah, exactly. The last one, work.
So even sa work is actually present, but not like if we imagine work like in its simplest form is basically you do something or you produce something and I give you money. So that's like the simplest form of work. So obviously there is no love language in that system, but we have to admit that the employer and the employee or the worker are both humans, and the dynamics of them is there is still some form of relationship or friendship. So diya na siya musulod ang love language diya. So diya na musulod like this person kay, even though it's not related to their work, but musulod sila nga nilain ka siyang tawanan because of this and that. And then that is also a source of inspiration po, because this co-worker might say like, I really like this person because he's doing this and that for me. So it's outside of work system. So yeah, so for work, not necessarily there's a love language there, but by the dynamics of the humans inside the work system.
Yeah, so I think it was a very rich short talk. Maybe we can recap what we've shared so far. So from the very beginning, we gave you a little bit of history on how these 5 love languages was discovered. After that, we talked about, we presented to you the 5 love languages and gave you a few examples. And then we talked about how do we identify as a basic step unsa ato ang love language. And also we gave you, we shared how this lack of orientation can cause conflicts, but at the same time how this awareness can cause maybe someone to compromise, And so maybe for me, ako personally, I want to say I'm very thankful na I got to discover this topic even more, especially now that we are preparing for marriage. I think it's very important and helpful also. And so I'm very thankful. Siguro for me to end this short talk, Dr. Gary Chapman spoke about the love tank. So, each one of us na tayo love tank. I-compare niya o gasoline tank. And then, kung empty na siya, wala fuel, of course, di ka kadagan. So, or like, you cannot really give love. But if full siya, then your love can go far. So, our goal in any relationship is to fill this love them consistently so that our relationships can flourish. But that's why it's very interesting. This topic which we have just begun can actually be expounded more because there's so many topics pa nga pwede natin i-discuss which maybe it can be another talk, or you can start also to try to self-study a little bit like why ganun ka naman akong love language. So yeah,
So
but very short of time.
yeah, sure. So thank you so much, everyone. So that was what we can say about like the introduction of love languages. And if you like to ask anything, so feel free to drop down in the comments somewhere below in this post. And so again, I am Neil.
And I'm Deya.
So thank you so much for watching the CH Squared video. We really appreciate you in your service. Not really in touch, but in giving also your time and words of affirmation in the comments below. And also to sa akin last.
Anyway, thank you for watching this recording.
Yeah.
Which we had to record.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, and
Bye-bye.
bye.
Have a great day.